Leave this community, you monkey. You're not needed. Those words echoed across my own driveway on what should have been a peaceful afternoon. Just like that, my whole world flipped upside down. The man standing there, dark vest on big white letters across his chest, HOA cop, had just slapped my wife, the woman carrying our child, right in front of our house. Then he looked her dead in the eye. Voice dripping with authority he thought he owned, and spat out those words like a sentence. My wife stood there frozen. One hand wrapped protectively around her belly, the other half raised as if her body couldn't decide whether to shield herself or the baby inside her. What I saw in her eyes wasn't fear. Not yet, it was pure shock. The kind that empties your mind because you just can't accept what's happening. And that man leaned in like he owned our patch of concrete, with a sneer on his lips and hate in his voice. That's what happens when monkeys forget their place. Something inside me went cold. Not anger, just this icy, silent clarity. And to really understand why that guy thought he could talk to my wife like that, why he could put his hands on her, you need to know. This story goes back way further than just one day. We were the only black family in the neighborhood. It was clear from the first day. People stared too long, conversations died out when we walked past, neighbors waved, but never once invited us over. It wasn't loud, ugly racism. No, it was the quiet kind, the kind that hides behind community standards and HOA rules. And nobody wore that mask better than the HOA president, Karen Whitmore. Honestly, her name might as well have been fate. She showed up the first week, clipboard clutched to her chest, posture, perfect voice, sugar sweet, if you weren't paying close attention. She'd go on about grass height trash bins, the right shade of paint for your front door. But every talk, every single one, ended with a little reminder this neighborhood had an image to uphold. And it was always clear our family didn't fit that image. Most of the time I was deployed, months gone at a stretch. That meant my wife was alone, pregnant, trying her best to feel safe in a place that never truly wanted her. Karen knew my schedule. Every time I left, she ramped up her little visits, random checks, so-called concerned neighbors, anonymous complaints, too much noise, car parked in the wrong spot, a porch chair that wasn't approved. It was always my wife. And when her pregnancy started to show, Karen dropped the act. She'd talk about responsibility, how children need the right environment, and how some families just aren't a good fit for long-term community harmony, staring straight at my wife's stomach like our baby was a crime. We documented everything, emails, dates, photos. We stayed calm, followed the rules, never let them get a rise out of us. But the more we played by the book, the harder Karen pushed. She brought in HOA enforcers, not real cops, not even real security. Just some guys in tactical vests, radios on their belts, puffed up to look official enough to scare folks who didn't know better. One of them took a special interest in my wife, showing up when she was outside, standing too close, talking too loud, trying to intimidate her. That day I came home early, wanted to surprise her, take her out, remind her she wasn't alone. Instead, I stepped out of my truck just in time to see that man slap my pregnant wife, call her an animal, over some made-up HOA violation, claimed she stole HOA money. HOA. But I saw the real reason all over his face, confidence, cruelty, the kind of arrogance that thinks nobody will ever call you out. Only this time I was home. And in that second, it wasn't an HOA thing anymore, it was personal. He finally saw me, turned around, still trying to play it cool, hands up like he could talk his way out of anything. She stole it, he said, pointing at my wife, never even looking at her. HOA member funds. He didn't get to finish. My fist caught him square in the jaw hard. Not a yell, not a crack, just a dull, heavy sound that felt like it ended something. His head whipped to the side, his feet slid on the concrete. I didn't stop. I hit him again harder. His knees buckled, but I grabbed his vest and kept him upright. Another punch, then another. All the months of fear and anger and helplessness I'd swallowed while I was gone, they all came pouring out. He tried to fight back, but his arms just wouldn't listen. I felt bone shift under my knuckles. When I finally let go, he collapsed like gravity just quit on him. He should have stayed down. Instead, he tried to crawl. That's when something inside me snapped. I dropped onto him, pinned his shoulders with my knees, kept punching, heavy, controlled, relentless. His head hit the driveway once, then his body just went limp. Someone screamed, a neighbor, not my wife. Another voice yelled my name. Hands grabbed at me. I shrugged them off without even realizing. Another punch landed. He's out. He's unconscious. Someone shouted, I hit him again. More hands pulled at me this time, 2 neighbors dragging me off. I resisted for a second, then I heard my wife crying. That sound cut through everything. I stopped. The guy was sprawled on the driveway, face already swelling, jaw all wrong, breathing shallow and uneven. Somebody said he wasn't breathing right. Another neighbor was on with 911, voice trembling. Someone else rushed to grab towels, pressed them to his ribs. I backed away, my hands shaking, not from rage anymore, but because reality hit me like a truck. I went to my wife. She was shaking so bad her knees almost buckled when I got to her. I wrapped my arms around her as gentle as I could. She clung to me like she was afraid to ever let go. Her cheek was red from where he hit her. Her breathing was shallow. I just kept whispering, I'm here. I've got you. A minute later, sirens cut through the air, first distant, then echoing off every house. Red and blue lights spilled down the street, patrol cars, screeched up officers poured out. I put my hands up slow, didn't move an inch. The fake HOA cop still hadn't moved. Paramedics rushed him. One muttered, head trauma, severe. He's not waking up anytime soon. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just a fight. This was about to become something much, much bigger. Another officer knelt by my wife, checked her face, her breathing, her stomach, asked about the baby, asked if she'd been hit anywhere else. I stayed right where I was, hands open, feet planted, no resistance. I did this, I said, before anyone even asked. I'll cooperate. They cuffed me, not rough, just procedure. A man lay broken on my driveway, and I wasn't pretending otherwise. As they led me toward the cruiser, an officer asked, Sir, do you have ID? Back pocket, I said. He pulled out my wallet, opened it, and everything changed. Active duty, United States Navy. The officer didn't say a word. He just handed it to his sergeant, who read it, looked at my wife, then at me. They uncuffed me. The tone changed, just like that. The medics loaded the fake HOA cop onto a stretcher, jaw, shattered ribs, broken severe head trauma. We need to move now, one said. He was rushed to the hospital. Later doctors confirmed he'd gone into a coma soon after arriving from brain swelling. And there was no question about what happened. 3 neighbor security cameras, a doorbell camera across the street, the HOA vehicle dash cam, 6 phones, every angle, every second on tape. They had the slap, the slur, the accusation, the fight neighbors pulling me off. No missing context, no way to twist it. The investigation was quick. The fake HOA cop was charged with felony assault, hate crime enhancement, impersonating an officer, false accusation of theft, aggravated harassment of a pregnant woman. He got 25 years in prison the moment he woke up. And when he did wake up, he started talking, handed over messages, emails, voice recordings, all from Karen Whitmore. She told him to make her uncomfortable, said my wife didn't fit the image, reminded him I was never home, flat out called my wife a monkey in writing. Karen was arrested 2 days later, charged with conspiracy civil rights violations, solicitation of illegal enforcement, hate-based harassment. She lost her position, lost her license, got 6 years in prison, and had to pay $200,000 in civil damages to my family. The HOA. It was dissolved under investigation. And my wife, she never set foot in that neighborhood again. Our child was born healthy, safe, and loved. Every time I think back to that driveway, to that raised hand, to that word he thought would hurt her, I remember this the second he touched my wife. All the rules stopped mattering. He stopped being a neighbor protected by the system. So let me ask, did I do the right thing, or did I just do what any husband would have done? Where's the line between self-defense and revenge, between law and justice? If you were in my shoes, what would you have done? Drop your thoughts below. What does justice look like to you? Ever had to stand up for someone you love? Share your story. I want to hear it. Let's talk about right, wrong, and the price of standing up for what's right. Because sometimes real life is a whole lot messier than any movie.